Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday. It's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. A couple of things that you need to know before we start. The first thing is these questions, you're getting my raw, unfiltered opinion. If I think a question deserves a longer answer, I will make a video about it in the future. Also, the other thing that's really important to notice is I film these normally on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It's currently 10 o'clock on a Wednesday and that's when I'm filming it this week. If you want to guarantee to get your question answered, try and get it in for the Monday. If I miss it, I apologize. Ask it again and I will get back to it the following week. Just drop it down below. Now, with that all being said, there are a metric ton of questions in this Q&A, so we're going to go straight into it. Let's go straight into this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question, or the first series of questions, buckle up, there's a couple of these, is from Andy Putt. Who has got a three-part question, because there's quite a few questions here. Let's see what we can do. Okay, start with this one. So, hey, Craig, I'm going to post this in 3 parts because my posts are getting deleted instantly. Maybe they're too long for YouTube. Part 1. I hope you and your family are okay after the allegations. When you're in doubt, I want to remind you of something. Sarah loves statistics, and so do I. If Sarah made a list with all the people who follow and comment, you'll see that almost everybody loves you and what you're doing here. There's always that 1 or 2% that hates you, but hate everything in life about you, so please don't focus on them. Please do it for the 98, 99% and not for the 1.2% if it feels good for you, of course. Boom. Yeah, totally, man. I don't want to dwell on this whole thing, but my attitude is the same as it was before. I am namaste as fuck about everything. Look, it is what it is. I had to make the videos, very serious allegations. I know Scott doesn't like me and that's fine, but I don't wish him any, look, he was very upset about the whole thing. I get that. And if he's listening to this video, I will say once again to Scott Perry, I apologize. If I did something a year ago, I apologized over message, but I'll apologize again. If I did anything that upset you, I'm very sorry. But allegations of me being a bully, allegations of me being, well, we're not going to go into it in this video. I don't think that's fair, but whatever, I'm done with it. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate that. Anyway, this is a Q&A, so let's ask some questions. Right. Do you have some pool billiards based effects? I have. Paul Harris, screwed deck. Michael Hoyt, dirty pool. A penguin download of Chef Anton. All that download he learns, his signature trick, but you need a pool table for it. And my pockets and close-up bag are not big enough for a pool table, unfortunately, and I want to expand that type of magic. With some searching, I found Wayne Fox's Obliterate, David Penn's Magnetic 8-Ball, and Pool Ball Miracles by you. Will you release an updated version of this because I can't find it anywhere, or maybe put it on the Netrix? Do you have any further billiards pool themed trick recommendations? So that's a great question, absolutely amazing question, and you're asking it at just the right time, and I'll tell you why. So I love magic with 8 balls. I always have. One of the very first projects I bought out was Pool Ball Miracles, and you got a bunch of pool balls and there was a whole bunch of routines in there. I love magic with pool balls. I always have. And Pool Ball Miracles was a bit different to the other things that you've put there because it was a bunch of routines with regular pool balls. So Obliterate, I think we've reviewed that recently on the review show. That's great. It's a way of taking an 8-ball and squashing it flat and then putting it back into a card box. The Magnetic 8-Ball is basically an 8-ball that's magnetic. So you can use it on a holder and you can hold it out. That's really cool as well. Obviously, you know what dirty pool is, you've got it, and all of that stuff. Routines that you might not have looked at. So there's one that I like performing an awful lot called Trick Shot Production. Now, this is by John Bannon. I think this is one of the very first versions of the pool ball style kind of card magic. So what happens is you have someone pick a card. They're going to pick a black 8, probably an 8 of clubs, and then you have it lost in the pack. The card box is put to one side. And then you say, look, if I told you I predicted your card from the beginning, would that be good? And they say, yeah. And you pick up the card box and you say, look, I left something in there. What was your card? And they go, oh, it's the 8 of clubs. And you go, it was a black 8. And you open up the card box and boom, you pop out a pool ball from the card box, which is not big enough to fit in there. It's a little bit like bowling ball from Briefcase. It looks amazing. It looks really, really good, and then you just give it them to examine. Now, that was the original Trick Shot production. David Penn, on his Top It DVD, had a really nice follow-up to that, where once you've produced the 8-ball, it uses a Top It, but you take the 8-ball and you do this, and it turns into the card that they picked. I've got a way of doing that without actually using a Top It, which is unpublished at the moment, but that was a nice follow-up. And Obliterate was actually based on that as well, because Wayne actually produces the 8-ball, and then once he's from the card box, squishes it down flat, drops it back in the card box, and then puts the deck in there as well. So they kind of all come together, but it all started off with Trick Shot production from John Bannon. Now, a lot of the stuff that went on Pool Ball Miracles were transpositions and ways of making balls transpose, and there was a ball through the table and some really cool packet tricks. There was a ton of stuff, really. So, with that in mind, I am actually going to be putting a lot of my pool ball magic on the Netrix. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. We're going to have a separate section on the Netrix called Pool Ball Magic, and we're going to put a ton of stuff on there as well. I think we're going to start uploading pool ball style routines to the Netrix this Monday if I have time to film them. If not, it'll be the following upload. But we are aiming for this Monday if we can. It's just got a very busy week this week. But yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Yes, if you like the pool ball stuff, you can't get pool ball miracles anymore, but it was regular pool balls, so any pool balls will work. But you can 100% just get that stuff on the Netrix. By the end of April, beginning of May, I imagine all of my pool ball stuff will be up there, because a few people have asked. Outside of that, yeah, Obliterate is great. Magnetic 8-ball is great as well. There's not really that much more pool ball magic, unfortunately, that I'm aware of, other than what you've said. So yeah, I mean, but it's definitely worth looking at the original Trick Shot production by John Bannon, though, because that's pretty much what started everything. Okay, so question number 2 from Andy Putt. Product Masterclass. Craig, you do a lot of masterclasses, and a few weeks ago you even did a business masterclass at the Magic Alon Society that was awesome. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed doing that. But that last one was more around upping your performance game and getting booked. Is there a possibility that you can give a masterclass about from idea to the shelves of magic shops with all steps in between? Or isn't that a possibility because you always work with companies that do that part of the product? So if you can maybe recommend somebody or something that can. I also know about Adam Wilber's masterclass, but I want to gain as much knowledge as I can. So you're wanting me to do a masterclass about from idea to the shelves of the magic shops with all steps in between. So you're talking about releasing a trick to the magic community, right? Yeah, I can do that. I can probably do that as a video on YouTube. Not a problem. I'll try and do it in the next week. So what you're wanting a video where it's like, hey, okay, let's talk about literally, let me hold your hand and take you for initial idea. Let's assume you've got an initial idea through to pitching it to companies and get it out on magic shop shelves. Not a problem. Absolutely fine. I will try and do that within the next week or two. But yes, it's too much of a big subject to kind of talk about now on this Q&A, but it's absolute something I can talk about. No problem. I'll put that video together for you very, very soon. Okay, so the next question is again by Jay Plays, who says, I saw a new Craig Petty release, Level Up, and I have a few questions about it. Right, okay, so bearing in mind, there's going to be a few videos going up about Level Up over the next few weeks, starting with a review show special. So bear that in mind, but I am going to gloss through these. I'm guessing you're already going to put up a review show special, but here's my questions. Will you show what you get in the project? You showed everything about Keymaster, Nightshade, Magic Button, etc. But I'm curious about what kind of cartridges and gimmicks you'll get when you're buying. Yes. Matt has no idea what Level Up is, and I think it's going to fool the pants off him. So next week, I'm going to try, if Matt's schedule and my schedule work, I'm going to try and do a Matt test on Matt about Magic Button, about Level Up. So I'm going to actually perform a few routines with him. And then when I've performed those routines, I'm going to kind of break down with him exactly what you get and exactly what happens. So yes, I'm definitely doing a video like that. I'm hoping to get it up for next week. Okay. What reason do you give about carrying the cartridges? Maybe I'm short-sighted, but it seems a bit illogical for me to carry Switch cartridges around with you. Well, the thing you need to understand, right? Okay, there's a couple of things here. Is magicians carry weird and wonderful objects around with them all the time, right? So if you're in a gigging situation where you're paid to be there, you're pulling out a metal cup, you're pulling out a little ball, a piece of cork with a sweater on it, you're pulling out a pack of cards. Normal people don't carry cards around with them. You're pulling out a old silver Morgan dollars. You're pulling out sponge balls, a purse that has no bag. Magicians carry weird and wonderful stuff with them anyway at gigs. And I think if you walk over and you say, hey, I'm a magician, let me show you something with these. Have you ever seen these before? It's totally not an issue. And if you're in a kind of a non-performing situation where you're not being paid to perform and you're just out and about, well, I take my Switch with me everywhere. I travel a lot to gigs and to shoots and so on and so forth. And I always take my Switch with me because, I'm going to be sitting there for hours a lot of the time on a train. It's something that I can do. And the actual case that we supply with Level Up is actually based on the case that I actually use to carry my own games with me. So if you're out and about and it's a social situation, you go, hey, I travel an awful lot. Do you guys know what a Nintendo Switch is? Boom, you're into it. So my way of actually performing this generally is when I'm in a gig, or if I'm doing this as an EDC thing, I'll say, hey, you want to see something really cool? Let me show you something. Now, has anybody seen what one of these is? And you bring out the case and they'll go, no. And you go, well, it's actually a case and it holds cartridges. These are Nintendo Switch cartridges. Does anyone have a Nintendo Switch? Oh, cool. There's a few different games here. Has anybody ever tried any of those? Okay, let me just use a couple of them. These are two of my favorite games, and these are awesome. Now, it's almost impossible to know every single game on the market, but these two are my favorite. They're a little bit underground. A lot of people don't know about them. But I'm going to try and do something with cartridges from a Nintendo Switch. And the reason is I'm going to try and make these cartridges switch. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look, boom. And then you're into it, right? It doesn't have to be any more justification than that. All it has to be is, hey, I've got this case, I've got these Nintendo Switch cartridges with me. If you want to say, hey, I travel an awful lot, so when I'm out and about, and I'm on the way to a gig, I always carry this with me. It's my games, my Switch. I've got my Switch back in my bag in the car. When I probably take a break driving, I'm going to be using that, or I've got my Switch in the bag over there. When I go home, I'm going to be playing it. Whatever. It's the perfect thing to be able to justify. It's not a problem justifying it at all. But I think magicians sometimes overthink things like this. And what I mean by that is it's like, oh, I don't know how to justify carrying a case with some Switch cartridges around with me, but it's perfectly okay to bring out 3 pieces of rope. It's kind of like, do you understand? If it's okay for that, it's okay for this. And this is something that everybody knows and recognizes and understands immediately. So I understand your issue, but honestly, it's not a problem. I understand everyone and his mother know what they're carrying, know what they are, and that they're carrying PS5 discs. It's not very EDC if you compare it to Switch games, but I don't see a reason. Okay, that's part of the thing. So yeah, I just carry it around with me. I just carry a case around with me. People carry cases around with games all the time. The whole point of a Switch is it's portable. You can play it at home, but you can take it out and about with you. So it's very logical that if you've traveled to a gig, you might have your Switch with you. And if you have, you're going to have a case with some of your games in it, right? It just makes sense. But you don't have to justify it too much, because we don't justify. We expect people to understand that we're a magician. If you're a magician, you're going to have certain things with you that are going to allow you to do the magic. And in this case, you've got these cartridges, like you've got some rope, or you've got a chop cup, or whatever it may be. So honestly, don't run if you're not being chased. It's totally not an issue. I get your concern, but it's nothing to worry about. Okay, again, the next question is from Jay Plays, who says, do you have any recommendations for smoke watches? I know about the ones from Joel Miranda, but I hear bad things about it, like the battery. Look, I don't really do smoke watches, and the reason I don't do smoke watches is it's just a personal thing. I don't think they look great. I think that no matter what smoke watch you use, if you've got smoke appearing from your hands and your sleeves are rolled up, now bearing in mind, look at any videos of me, 95% of the time I'm performing with my sleeves rolled up. And the reason is I do a lot of coin magic. I do a lot of sleight of hand based magic. When I'm actually performing in the real world, I don't do as much card magic as I do other stuff, right? So because of that, a lot of the time people think, oh, it's gone up the sleeve. And even if they don't think that, they might be thinking that, but not vocalizing it. The amount of time I'll perform to a group and they'll go, and look, he's got his sleeves up. Because that's one of those misconceptions that laymen have about how magicians do their tricks, right? So I always have my sleeves rolled up. So if I'm using a watch, I've just got that watch on the wrist and that's it. So when I make the smoke appear, I think logically, if people think about it, it's going to have come from the watch if it's going to have come from anywhere, right? I just think that, you know, I've never just been a big fan of them. Now, my friend Nemid Phoenix, who a lot of you guys know, best close-up magician in the world as far as I'm concerned, he bought a smoke watch, and it was by John Miranda. It was the very first one. I think they've improved since then. But he always tells the story about this watch burning his wrist. When he got it, he tried it on and put it on, and it burnt his wrist, and he put it in the bin and never used it again. And, you know, I just don't think that, you know, it's a very expensive prop, which is absolutely fine. But it's a very expensive prop that I don't particularly need to carry around with me. I don't really do the smoke thing. For a while I did. Ryland does. Ryland's got a smoke pad, and he does the smoke appearing underneath the cups when he does the cups and balls. But I don't really do smoke. And I've seen people use it, and it looks beautiful and it looks wonderful and everything. It looks great. And obviously Shim Lim uses it to perfection. But for me, it's not something that I'm really kind of interested in. So no, I don't have any recommendations for smoke watches. I'm not a big smoke watch fan. I'm not a big smoke fan in general, to be perfectly honest. I think the best smoke device that ever was created was the Smoke from Mouth by Alan Morrison, because that just made sense, right? It was all self-contained and it had a reason for it. I just loved it. So I just love that. But I can't really give you any advice on smoke watches because I don't have one, I don't own one, and I'm not going to spend the money on getting one because I know I wouldn't use it. So can't really help, unfortunately, on that. Okay, so the next question is by Andy Putt as well, who says, Craig, you told us that the fourth coin set with Alakazam will be a pre-Christmas release. Fingers crossed. And I have Mirage and Apparition, and I'm saving money for Nightshade. Can you tell me what the price range for the fourth? And I think you said on the channel that it will be the Imagination coin set for the dollar version. Will this be released together with the third part of the Craig Petty Christmas trilogy? The Christmas thing is going to be a totally separate thing. I am working on a Christmas trick at the moment. And it's very different to the first two. You know, the first one was Elf, which was a packet trick. The second one was Christmas cards, which is more of a mentalism tool. This one's very different to the first two. Very, very different. But I've got nothing to say about that right now because I'm still ironing out the kinks. But in terms of the fourth coin set, the Imagination coin set, by the way, is something else. So the Imagination coin set will be maybe the fifth or the sixth coin set, I don't know. The fourth coin set, I can't tell you a price because Alakazam set prices on everything, not me. It's not something that I do, it's what Alakazam does. But the other thing to consider with that as well is where we are with the coin set at the moment is I've been working through routines. How these coin sets happen, by the way. So let me just go through this because this is kind of an interesting thing. I spent about a year, so this fourth coin set, what we're hoping to have out for Christmas, I developed the concept for this around about a year ago. And there's a lot of back and forth before we get to the point to where we're happy even with what the concept is. So I sat down with Pete and I said to Pete, this is what I think it should be. This is what I think should be included in the set. And then he then goes to Roy and makes a prototype. The prototype comes back to Alakazam, then comes back to me. I look at it and I'm like, I think this needs to happen with it. That needs to happen with it. So then they go back to Roy, they make another prototype, they send it to me. This goes back and forth a few different times until we get to the point where I'm happy with the actual gimmicks. Then I have to think about anything else that needs to come with the set. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, so what needs to come with this? This is the main gimmick. These are the things that they're going to get that are gimmicked. Right, what are they going to need? Because the thing with the coin sets is I believe that everything should be included. So you think about Nightshade, you think about Mirage, all the regular coins are included as well. You think about Mirage, we included the little purse, because a lot of the routines use purses. You look at Nightshade, and it included a little bag, because the bag is used in a lot of the routines. So you kind of look at it and you go, okay, what's included? Now, in this case, there's something that I've said to Pete we need to include with this coin set, because I think a lot of the routines are going to be based around this prop. And it's not a purse, it's not a bag, it's something completely different that needs to be custom designed, but not by a coin manufacturer. So now, Pete is looking at pricing up and getting this thing, but I'm insisting it needs to come with this, because it needs to come with everything, and a lot of the routines that I'm thinking about at the moment would require this extra thing. And the extra thing that I wanted to include with it originally wasn't gimmicked, it was a thing that was included that would help with a lot of the routines. Sorry about being vague. And I said that to Pete, and Pete then said, well, how about if we made it gimmicked and we did this with it? I'm like, that's genius, because that would open up a lot more possibilities. Okay, then let me look into this. So now he's come back to me and said, we've got a prototype for this thing, gimmicked. It's going to be with me in about a week's time. I'm like, perfect, brilliant, that's great. So now what I'm doing at the moment is I'm working on various different routines with the coins, and it needs to be, you know, I think that people would be disappointed if they had Mirage and it had 5 hours of tutorial, it had Apparition and it had like, what, 4 hours of tutorial, can't remember, and then Nightshade had about 8 or 9 hours of tutorial. If the new coin set has like one trick that it comes with, I think that everybody would be disappointed, because the elite coin range, when me and Pete sat down to create the elite coin range, we wanted to create something that was just, there's nothing else like it on the market. It has to do something completely different, and it has to be so expansive. So so it's really important that if I can't develop, there's a few things with it. I have to develop enough material that makes it worthwhile to come out as a product, but also it has to be different to the stuff that I've put on the other projects. So I can't just rehash what went on the Mirage coin set and Nightshade and do it in a different way with this new coin set, because that just, what's the point, right? So there has to be new things that are being put into this coin set. So currently what I'm doing is I've got the gimmick. I'm so happy with the gimmicks, they're great. And I'm trying to work out now what coins need to be included. And it's a real juggling thing. It's like, for example, I came up with a routine the other day with this thing, and it needed 15 coins. But it was a cool routine, uses 15 coins. It's the only routine I came up with that came up with 15 coins. And I said to Pete, this is ridiculous, because we're going to have to include all of these coins for this one routine. I think that makes it very cost prohibitive. So let's maybe either shelve that routine, not include it, or maybe include it, but say you're going to have to get some of your own coins. But then you're going to have people annoyed that they've bought it and they've got this routine on there that they have to go out and get extra stuff for. So then maybe you think, well, that routine needs to be shelved. And this is the process that I'm in right now. Every day, I'm working on routines with this coin set. Every single day, I'm putting things down. I'm coming up with ideas. I'm testing them. I'm going out to gigs and doing them in gigs. No, that's not getting the reaction I want. Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me try this. Nope, that's not where it needs to be. Okay, this is perfect. Right, great. And I've come up with 15 routines that I'm happy with right now. And none of those use the extra thing that I told you about, because I'm waiting for that extra thing. When that extra thing comes in, that's going to open up a whole new world of possibilities. But because of that, the whole set is in a state of flux. Pete is basically waiting for me to say, this is what I think needs to be included in the set. And then he will price it up and he'll work out how much. And I really need to get that done by the summer, because in order for it to be a Christmas release, we really need to film it around September, October. And I need to get the live performances around about October, which means that we can have trailers and everything set up for like end of November. I think that's when really it should come out. So I've been working on it for the last year, but I'm really kind of fleshing it all out now. But until I say to Pete, this is what we need, we're not going to know the price. So there you go. Hopefully that's not too boring for you guys, and it kind of shows what goes into this stuff. But there's a lot that goes into it. With all tricks, with all releases, through all companies, there's a lot that goes into it. But especially with the Elite Coin range. Because I've kind of painted myself into a corner right now. That there's a certain standard that's been set with the sets in the Elite Coin range. And we have to make sure that everything that we do is better than the set before. So everybody raved about the Mirage coin set. But then I think it's safe to say that the Apparition coin set, everybody said that was even better than Mirage. And everyone that's bought Nightshade has said, oh my God, this is even better than Apparition. I need that to happen with this next coin set, else it's not going to come out. Right now, I'm very happy with where we are, but we're still not there yet. Okay, so the next question is, again, from Jay Plays. Surprise, surprise. Last week you said there's a Svengali project on its way from Alakazam. Didn't you mean the 1914? Nope, I meant Alakazam. I'm doing the Svengali project with Alakazam, not the 1914. D and his team are really busy doing other stuff, which is absolutely fine. And they're busy. I'm busy. So it was easier to do it through Alakazam. So when is this expected to be released? Well, it's shot. Pete's waiting on me to do the performances, which is down to me. I've been very busy this week. But I've got to get live performances done in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be getting live performances with Nemid, and then Nemid is the lead editor on that one. So he's got all of the footage for the Svengali project. He's also got all of the... so he'll be the one putting all of the trailer and everything together. So I need to get the live performances. When the live performances are done, we're good. It'll be ready to go. But I think that the Mirage project is the next project that's going to come out that's like a big Craig Petty project, like the Invisible Deck project, like the Cheeky project, like the Beyond Stebbins project, like Forecast, all of these big projects that I do from time to time. I think the next one will be Mirage. So you'll see Mirage first, and then after that, you'll probably see Svengali. Okay, so the next question is again from Jay Plays. Will there be a Keymaster expansion this year like Gatekeeper? And what can you tell us about it? We're working on 2 or 3 different expansions to Keymaster. I don't know whether you're going to see one this year, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure. I don't know is the answer. The next one we want to bring out isn't ready yet. And there's another one that is ready, but that's not going to be the first one out. I don't think so. I think it's going to be 2025 before you see something else with Keymaster. You definitely will see something else with Keymaster, but there's a bunch of other stuff that's coming out through Penguin this year anyway. I've already had 3 tricks come out through Penguin this year. I've had Magic Button, I've had Level Up, and I've had Mind Blocks. So I've already had 3 tricks come out through Alakazam this year, through Penguin this year, and there's going to be more coming. But I don't think we've not shot anything yet. And I'm waiting for the prototype of the thing that we do want to have come out, and we're not quite there yet. I spoke to Mandy the other week, and she said that we're close. So maybe you could, maybe. But I wouldn't hold your breath. Okay, so we've got one last question from Andy Pert, who says, what do you think about Wrestlemania 40? I think the 2 main events, the whole of Night 2 rocked, and with Wrestlemania 40 and the Raw after Mania, do you think we need to protect R-Truth by making him cultural heritage? That man can make everyone laugh. Yeah, R-Truth has always been one of my favourite wrestlers, ever since the Ron Killings days. He's amazing. And the guy is just like Peter Pan, right? He doesn't get any older. I thought WrestleMania was amazing. I thought WrestleMania was great. A lot of people are saying Night 2 was better than Night 1. I agree, but I thought Night 1 was very good as well. I thought The Rock looked phenomenal. And didn't miss a beat. I thought that the Raw after WrestleMania was incredible as well. I'm very, very excited for the new direction that the WWE seem to be going in. And I'm so glad Sami Zayn is the Intercontinental Champion. I'm a big Sami fan, and that match was incredible. So yeah, lot to love. I think The Rock has made wrestling cool, and I'm putting my money on it right now. WrestleMania 41 is going to be Cody versus The Rock, and I am all in on that. I think that's going to be amazing. Andy finishes it by saying, keep doing what you're doing. You rock, Craig. Don't forget that. Kind regards to the Netherlands. Please don't call the video title Andy put takeover again. Sorry for so many questions. Dude, that was Michael. I'll give him a slap on the wrist. I love questions. The more questions, the better. Because if nobody asks any questions, then there's no Q&A. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next question is from user JL5QY3UF3T. That just rolls off the tongue. Hi Craig, do you have any involvement in a scheme where you bring magic into schools in the Preston area with Russ Brown? If so, my niece is a member of a magic club. If so, my niece is a member of a magic club at a primary school in Preston. I think the school may benefit from your involvement. Okay, I don't really have any involvement per se. So so Russ Brown and David Brookhouse are the two people. David is an incredible magician, great storyteller, but also a teacher. And Russ Brown, we all know Russ Brown, right? So Russ and David teamed up together to create the scheme in the Preston area where they bring magic into schools. And it's just had funding for it's in its second year. I believe it's just had funding for the third year. And I did an interview with Russ and David on this on Magic TV. So you can go and see the video where they talked about the scheme when they just started it a year ago. It's gone from strength to strength. It's been, as I say, renewed for the second year. They've got funding for the third year. And the results they're getting are phenomenal. You know, through the use of magic in these schools, they're taking kids that were maybe a little bit disruptive and actually just getting them more involved and more interested. It's just incredible what they're managing to achieve here. Just incredible. So, yes, really, really good. I don't really have an involvement in it. I do in a way, but not really. I'm very good friends with Russ and David, and they've spoken to me a few times about the scheme and picked my brain on ideas, but I know it's something that they're wanting to roll out. I know it's something that they want to do more of, and they think it's got legs around the whole of the UK, and I agreed with them, and they were asking my advice of how to actually nationalise this whole concept. But the biggest involvement that my family have in it is that Ryland is the official ambassador for the scheme. So Ryland's the official ambassador. So at the end of each year, they hire a theatre and they get all of the kids into the theatre and they put on a show for the parents and for the teachers. And the first part of the show is all of the kids on stage doing various magic that they've learned. Which is really incredible to watch. I was in the audience watching this, and it was amazing. And then they have some of the kids doing close-up magic as people arrive, and then they have this whole stage show compared by Russ. Actually, it was compared by me. I compared the show. That's right. They had me compare it. I forgot that. So I compared the show. But they had all these different acts on that was put together by Russ and David, and a lot of the props were made by Guy Barrett. It was fantastic to see. And then the headlining act, doing like 35, 40 minutes at the end, was Ryland, who's the official ambassador for the scheme. And so, he's great because he's 11 years old. He's a little bit older than the kids that are there. They kind of look up to him. He hangs out with them during the day, and then he does the show he finishes the show, does like a 40-minute show, does all of his cool stuff, the floating linking rings, the Harry Potter stuff, the floating cane, all of that stuff. And it was so funny because at the end, he jumped off the stage and he just had like 500, 600 kids just coming over wanting him to sign stuff. It was insane. And he just loves doing that because Ryland's all about wanting more kids to get into magic. That's his kind of big mission in life. More kids should get into magic. So he loves being an ambassador. So that's what my family's involvement is with it. And also the fact that Russ Brown has done a lot for me. And I would do anything for that man. I would do anything for that man. So if he asks me to compare an event, if he asks me to give him advice on something, if he wants Ryland to do something, yeah, we're there immediately. If your niece is a member of a magic club in a primary school in Preston, that's probably to do with Russ and David. And if so, there'll be a big event. I think it's June this year, sometime in June, because we've just had to fill in a performer license for Ryland. So I think it's June. Something like that. And Ryland's going to be there doing the show. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so the next question is from Stephen Peters, who says, "Hi, Craig. I was surprised and interested to hear that wedding magicians are a common thing in the UK. I wonder why that isn't the case here in the States. Has it always been like that over there, or is it more of a recent development?" It's been like that for probably about 10, 15 years now. We've got to a point over here in the UK where having a wedding magician is kind of just a thing that you do. Not everybody has a wedding magician, but it's kind of a thing that comes up quite regularly. It's like, okay, what I need a wedding dress, I need a venue, I need a caterer, I need a DJ, I need a band, I need a magician. And I think one of the reasons it's so popular is because it's kind of like the Joneses effect, or it's kind of like that whole thing that everybody has a magician, so you should have a magician for your wedding as well. The amount of bookings that we get at weddings because they've seen us at other weddings is insane. And over here in the UK, we sell the concept of having a magician at a wedding as actually a useful thing and not just entertainment. So, for example, you've got two families that don't know each other very well. Having a magician there is a great conversation starter. It's a great icebreaker. It brings groups of people together. You take these two families that don't know each other and you give them something to talk about, and then you leave them and you go into another group. When you're having your wedding breakfast, no matter how hard you work on your table plan, you're not going to be able to organize it so that everybody knows everybody. So by having a magician, it's going to create conversation. It's just going to make everything run a lot more smoother. There's a lot of other reasons why brides and grooms will have magicians, but yes, it's a very popular thing over here in the UK and has been for quite a long time now. In fact, Paul Martin and his wedding academy, his Pro Magic Academy, they spend a long time kind of teaching people how to pitch for kind of wedding MC package, where the magician will come in and do everything at the wedding. So they will be the MC of the event. So they're not just doing magic, but they're kind of comparing the event, bringing the bride and groom into the wedding breakfast, kind of comparing on the first dance, all of that stuff, which is kind of an interesting take. Our big thing over here at Slightly Unusual is we like to advertise wedding illusion shows. So we do big illusion shows at weddings where we make the bride and groom appear on stage, float the bride up in the air, saw the groom in half, all that, chop the best man's head off, all this sort of stuff. That's always been a very popular option because people over here in the they want that spectacle, they want something different that nobody else has had, and very few people book an illusion show for a wedding. So when we say, hey, yeah, we can do close-up magic, but we can also do an illusion show, that's something that a lot of people are interested in. I've always said that over in the States, I have no idea why you guys don't have more wedding magic. I don't know. Because you guys do lavish weddings. You guys do big weddings, lavish weddings, keeping up with the Joneses, wanting to do something that nobody else has done before. I think that somebody in the States is going to crack that wedding market. I think somebody in the States is going to start offering magic at a wedding. And when they do, it's going to be a floodgate. And you want to be the first person that does that. Anybody who's over in the States, you want to be the first person to have wedding. If I was running a business in America, and I was running a business and it was based on magic, I would be doing anything and everything that I could to get wedding magic popular in America. I'd be showing people videos of magicians over in the UK. I'd be going and meeting with event planners. I'd be going and meeting with venues. I'd be offering venues free close-up magic at their venue to show them how it could work, and then asking them to make me their recommended supplier. I'd be writing blogs on it every single day, because here's the thing, right? It's that old story, isn't it? I use this story quite a lot when I'm doing motivational speaking. There's a man that owns a shoe shop over here in the UK, right? A little story about a man that owns a shoe shop. He owns quite a big business, actually. There's quite a few shoe shops, and he's got two sons, an older son and a younger son. And he decides he wants to expand the business and he wants to go international. And for some reason, he wants to go to South Africa. So he turns around to his older son and he says, "Hey, we're going to open up a shoe shop in South Africa. I want you to get on a plane, head over to South Africa, and I want to go over to this little place over there. I want to open up a shoe shop." So his son says, "Yes, Dad." And so he goes, gets on a plane, goes over to South Africa, gets out the airport, jumps in a taxi, heads over to where his dad was talking about, and he gets out the taxi and he looks around. Most people aren't wearing shoes. They're barefooted. Hardly anyone's wearing shoes. So he rings his dad and he says, "Dad, nobody's wearing shoes here. Nobody's going to want to buy shoes. This is ridiculous. I'm coming home." So he then goes back to the airport and gets on the next flight home. And his dad says to his younger son, "Look, son, I want you to go over to South Africa. I want you to go to this place. I want you to open up a shoe shop. We're going to open up a shoe shop. We're going to expand internationally." His younger son says, "Yes, Dad, of course." So he goes over, gets out the airport, jumps in a taxi, heads over to this place that his dad was talking about. He gets out. He sees nobody is wearing shoes. Very few people are wearing shoes. And he gets on the phone and he says, "Dad, nobody is wearing shoes here. This is amazing. Everybody is going to want to buy what we've got. This is going to be so successful. And the difference between success and failure a lot of the time is mindset. That's just how it is. That's the difference between success and failure. And if you're over in America and you go, well, nobody over here has wedding magic, that's fucking amazing, because that means that you can pioneer it. And when you do, you're going to be the market leader, because you can't be the market leader by copying the market leader. Damn, I wish I was in a place. I've actually said to people, last time I was speaking to Sean Dunn, I said, you know what? I would love to move to Columbus, because nobody gets married, and there's so many weddings over there. Nobody's having a magician. I know I could go over there, and within a year, I could kill it, absolutely kill it. So that's what I would do if I were you. I'd go out there and I'd just make it happen. Nobody does wedding magic. Brilliant. So the next question is from Jackson Bollock, who says, hi Craig, are you still planning on doing a video on Mr. Blonde and the bullying in Magic Saga? As someone stung by the peak, it still rankles that people like this are getting away with it and hiding behind secret identities with no comeback. Yeah, eventually I will. There's reasons why I can't do that at the moment. Well, you know, if you listen to certain people, I'm the head of the Magic Mafia. I'm the head of the Matrix. I have all of the power, and I can squash people like a bug. And I'm the biggest bully in Magic. That's if you listen to certain people. But in reality, that's not the case. But that video at some point will see the light of day. I can't give you a time frame. I can't tell you when. I can't even tell you why. I'm really, really sorry. But at some point, that video will see the light of day. Okay, so the next question is from MK Magic. Hey, buddy, who says, hi, Craig. Hope you're doing well. Better. Yeah, thank you. If possible, would you be able to do a review show on some practical magic products, or even just answer it here? Do you have any favorite practical magic products? I feel like they do great kids tricks, and in my opinion, they corner the market when it comes to kids props. Absolutely. I love practical magic with a passion, and a lot of mine and Ryland's kids show is made up of props from practical magic. So yes, 100%. I'll put that on the review show pile, and it's something that we'll get to in the coming weeks. But yes, 100% we'll do that for you. Okay, so the next question is the magic of Seth, who says, so I've learned the balloon swallow worked perfectly for social media video, but I'd like to do it live. None of the resources I've seen teaching on it explain the cleanup. How do you clean up a balloon swallow when on stage? Okay, so it very much depends on the act that you're doing. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples that might help. So the first example is, a guy I used to know that did an illusion show, and I'm not suggesting that this is the way you should do it. He came on stage and he had a sword basket set up on stage on a table, and he would come out and he would to music. He'd come out to music and he'd say, hey, welcome on stage, blah 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 blah, and he'd come out to music. He'd open up with the balloon swallow, get the round of applause, and then after the balloon swallow, he'd then the music had changed. His assistant would come out and he'd put her into the sword basket, and as he took the lid to put it on the sword basket, he would spit the balloon into the sword basket down at the base of the sword basket. So, and he had a reason to turn his back to put the lid on the prop, and that's when he spat it out, which obviously involves holding it underneath the tongue for a while. And that's something that you need to bear in mind, by the way. A lot of people that say they've learned the balloon swallow, you haven't learned it until you've compressed it into a tiny little ball, because you need to compress it into a tiny little ball, because then you can hold it in your cheek or you can hold it under your tongue and you can speak normally. If it's all unraveled in your mouth, you haven't learned a balloon swallow properly. Now, I'm sure that you have, but I just wanted to point that out to other people. So that's the first way I've seen it done. Now, I did the balloon swallow, but again, I did it in the context of an illusion show. For many years, we used to close our illusion show with something called the Rings of Death, which was basically the rings illusion. And we did it as a transposition, a little bit like a sub-trunk. And what would happen is we would bring our assistant out, and Russ, my business partner at the time, would put the assistant inside the rings and would be putting the rings over their head one at a time, screwing them in from the back. And I would say, while this is happening, this is going to take a couple of minutes, so I'd like to entertain you, watch this. And I would do the balloon swallow. At the end of the balloon swallow, I finished Boom, and at that point, Russ would have screwed that last ring in, and so then I would just step to the side, and he would be talking, so all the attention would be on him, and I would just literally just cough it out and just put it into my pocket. As I turned around to put the pump onto a table. But again, that worked in that context because there were two people and so on and so forth. I saw Max Francis, who's an incredible magician, very underground because he's busy working for real people. Now, I don't think Max was the first person to do this. It's an old gag with the balloon swallow. But I remember he was the first person I saw do it. He did a balloon swallow, did the balloon swallow, and then said, "Hey, would you like to see it come back?" And they go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Watch." And he turns round, so his back's to the audience, and he reaches up and he pulls out a balloon dog from under his jacket, right? And it looks like he's pulled it out from his arse. He pulls out a balloon. Now, as he's pulling that out, his other hand, he's just taking the balloon out, right? But his back's turned. He's got a reason for the back to be turned. And then he turns back round and he says, "Hey, there you go. It's a poodle." And he brings it back out, which is a funny gag, but also it gives him a reason to turn around to get that thing out of there. If you're in a situation where you've got a glass of water and you have it in an opaque like glass or something, you can have a drink and just spit it in there as if you're trying to make it go down all the way. So having a glass with a drink works as well. Or just get used to talking with it in your mouth and structure your routine where you have a reason for turning round. So you've done the balloon swallow and you say, "Okay, well, let's do a card trick now. We're going to use a pack of cards. Can you do me a favor? Can you pick a card?" Great. I'm going to look away. Don't let me see it. And you look away and you cover your eyes, but you're really taking that thing out your mouth. So it's just a kind of about thinking about the act as a whole and where you're going from the one routine to the next, if that makes sense. So there's a few different ways of doing it. Okay, so the next question is from Nightwear91, who says, "Are there any plans for a House and Wise with the Dancing Cane? If not, what's some of the good resources and where can I get a well-made cane?" The best cane that we've seen, and we're about to review this soon, has come out recently by Bon Lee. They've brought out a very, very practical, lightweight cane that uses invisible thread. Now, the problem with a heavier cane, if you've seen Ryland do the dancing cane or the dancing broom, they're very heavy. So he has to use a thicker kind of thread in order to do the dance, which is absolutely fine if he's working on a stage, but if he's working close up or a kid's party or something, or in a small parlor show, it doesn't work as well. So why am I telling you this? There is a reason. Oh yes. This dancing cane is very, very lightweight, which means the thread can be invisible, and it's an invisible thread dancing cane. You can literally see it close up. It looks amazing. It's by Bon Lee. I think it's called the Aero Dancing Cane. It's going to be on the review show soon. Ryland loves it. It's not always practical to take his light up dancing cane. It's definitely not practical to take the broom that he uses in his Harry Potter act, because that doesn't even compress. But this cane, he can literally just take anywhere. It takes up no space. So that's one of the best that I've seen. It's very, very lightweight, but it works really well. And you can do it under close-up conditions. In terms of dancing cane, where to learn it from, Jeff McBride has got some great material on it. As well as Jeff McBride, you've got, is it David Mann has got the Dancing Cane 101. That's a great DVD that Ryland used when he was learning a lot of dancing cane type manipulation. But I have asked, a few people have asked this question, Nightmare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Ryland. I don't do the dancing cane, but Ry does, and he does it a lot. So I'm going to get Ry to maybe do a Hows and Whys of the dancing cane. I think that might be a useful thing for people to see, because so many people ask the question. So I'm going to get Ryland to do it with me at some point, and then we're going to put that up as a video, a Hows and Whys, and kind of just do a teaching on the dancing cane. Because there's very little out there. But if you want to get started, Jeff McBride, David Mann, both of those are great resources. And the new Bon Lee one comes with a tutorial. I think it's very basic. I didn't watch it because Ryland, that's his thing. But look for the review. It'll tell you. I think it's very basic, but it goes through a couple of moves. Okay, so the next question is from Kissaboy, who says, "Hi Craig, I love your empowerment trick. What's the cheapest, quickest set that I can buy that will allow me to perform it?" Wow. Well, I mean, you need a flipper, man. So you could do it with the Mirage coin set or buy a flipper, but make sure it's a gravity style flipper. Get a good gravity style flipper. Ronald Davis is a great shout. If you want to make it reasonably priced but still good, JB Magic is a good shout. But get yourself a decent gravity flipper. The Mirage coin set comes with a really good gravity flipper, and even though it's gimmicked in a different way, you could still use it for empowerment. But yeah, you need a gravity flipper, basically. That's the cheapest way to do it. So go find a gravity flipper. Yeah, I would go to Mark Mason at JB Magic. That's probably your best bet. Or Ronald Davis. Reach out to Ronald Davis. Get them to make you one, and then that's the way to go with that. Okay, so the next question is from Steedman99, who says, "Hi Craig, I have the Nightshade coin set. Haven't had a chance to watch the tutorial. Could you recommend an easy trick from it to get started? Something I could do down the pub would be great. Thanks." Throw coins. Throw coins. If you haven't really done much Magic and you want to do something really simple that doesn't require much sleight of hand but looks really good, go with throw coins. Throw coins looks super awesome, and it's also very, very easy to do. It's very early on in the project as well. It's one of the first tricks. So I would go with throw coins, and then maybe after that go into the 2-coin trick, which is also a very easy trick to do with the project. Okay, so the next question is from Donald Wright, who says, "Hi Craig, I've been into Magic, especially close-up, since the late 70s. Got away from it, but thanks to you and all your products and Magic TV, I've returned with new enthusiasm to close-up. That makes me so happy." Donald, that's awesome. I'm so happy to welcome back to the Magic community. It's a fun place. We put the fun in dysfunctional, but, it's a good place. I have Apparition, Mirage, Chop, and also the Ronco Miracle Cups and Balls. I've been thinking of adapting Chop and Apparition to the gimmicks that come from Ronco. Any thoughts or suggestions? Hang in there. Best to you and your family. I don't know the Ronco Miracle Cups and Balls, I don't think. I'm just going to do a little search here. But I don't think I know the Ronco Miracle Cups and Balls. I don't really know that, I don't think. Is it still available to buy? Is it still available? Ronjo. It is. Ronjo.com, is that it? Miracle Chop Cup with sucker ending. Oh, I do know what this is. Yes, I know what this is. This is really good. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, you could definitely combine this with Mirage. Apparition. I don't think I've got this. I know this. I think I had it years ago, but I don't think I've got it now. I'm going to buy this. Add to cart. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to come up with some routines that combine it just for you. Because I had one of these, and I haven't had one for a long while. So I'm going to come up with some routines for it. I'm guessing the best place to get them from is from ronjo.com. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Right, I'm going to get one. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get them shipped over here. I'm going to get one. I'm going to come up with some routines, and we're going to do a hows and whys of the Ronjo Cups and Balls. The cups and whatever it is. Okay? Bear with me. I'm going to have to get them here and come up with some routines. But yes, I think that you could definitely combine the two. Okay, so the next question is from Eric Mendoza, who says, "Hey Craig, just wondering if there's a plan of releasing your book of work. I'd be more than happy to leave a space on my bookshelf for your book. By the way, you're doing a great job. Kudos, man. Thanks." Thank you so much. And yes, there is a big plan. In fact, we thought it would have been out of Blackpool, but unfortunately it's not. But it will definitely be here by the summer. I am confident of it. It will definitely be here by the summer, if not before. I'm very excited about it. I will be telling people about it from the rafters, because there is a lot of stuff that's gone into that book that's very different to any book that you've seen. And I'm so proud of the material and the content in there, because it's not just tricks. I don't want to be a hype machine. I don't want to talk about stuff that isn't here yet. I don't want to be accused of being hyping stuff up along with everything else I've been accused with this last couple of weeks. So suffice to say, I do have a big book of magic, and it's coming soon. Okay, so the next question is from Shinakami, who says, "Hi Craig, after the mat test with key motion, I noticed how it's compared to the haunted key. It made me wonder about the difference in how the trick plays between someone is doing the magic and the object is magic. What do you think the pros and cons are? Is it just down to the magician, their character and the presentation, or do you think people react to more one over the other? React more to one over the other?" So what's the difference between someone doing the magic and the object is magic? I think we always want to strive to have people think that the magic is in you. I think that the prop that you're using should be a vehicle for you to perform to the audience. I think if you're doing a trick and people are looking at it and going, well, that's a very clever deck of cards right there, I don't think that's the best way to approach a performance, because then they're probably just thinking, well, if I had that deck of cards, I could do what you did as well. You want people to think that the magic is in you, or at least that, hey, even if you had that deck of cards, it's not about the cards, it's about what you're doing, right? And it's the same thing with the key. I think that it's really important when you're doing that sort of thing. It's not about the key, it's about you. And I think that the presentation of, hey, I'm going to concentrate, watch this, concentrate. I think that we should strive wherever possible to make it not about the prop, unless the prop is inherently part of the trick. So I'll give you an example. One of my favorite coin routines of all time is David Roth and his rainbow routine. If you don't know what that is, he's got a rainbow, and it's beautiful. It's just a little rainbow that sits there on the table. And he has like $5 and he touches the yellow and then the coin turns yellow. He touches the red, the coin turns red. He touches the green, the coin turns green. So he makes all of these coins change one at a time into the color of the rainbow. And then for the big finish, he makes a pot of gold appear at the end of the rainbow. It's incredible, it really is. But in that presentation, the prop is the magic. It's, hey, have you ever seen the rainbow? People consider a rainbow magical. This rainbow is magical. Let me show you why. So it's, and a lot of David Roth's signature coin routines, the focus was on the prop. If you think about the portable hole, the focus is on the hole and the coins vanishing into the hole. If you think about the sleeve, the focus is on the sleeve that he's got on the table. The globe, the focus is on the globe. Even something like the Stonehenge coin assembly. Yes, it's a coin assembly, but it's the focus on the postcards and the production of the rock, you know? So I think it very much depends on the routine, but I think a lot of the time, generally as a rule, we should try to make the magic about us and not necessarily about the prop that we're using. Okay, so the next trick is from Antonias Diaz Ballesteros, who says, "Hello, I recently saw your 5x5 on Nick Locapo. Really love the flying card routine. Where can I buy and learn it?" Well, it's based on the Hummer card, right? So it's Nick's handling of the Hummer card, which is was sold back in the day at every magic shop in Vegas. It was one of those things that you just demoed and everyone bought it. Nick, however, has taken it to an entire other level and put sequences with rings and everything and so on and so forth. Now, when I saw Nick lecture, he had lecture notes available on his handling of the flying card. So he had, which Ryland is currently learning. So Ryland got one of those lecture notes and it's illustrated and everything, and then there's links to videos. Ryland's learning it because anything that floats Ryland loves, right? And the book is amazing and goes through the whole routine that you saw on the 5x5. Now, they aren't available in magic shops. They're only available at lectures that Nick is actually lecturing at. However, if you contact Nick, he's very accessible on social media. Go and contact him on Facebook. That's how I speak to Nick, because I don't use Instagram, although I'm sure he is contactable through Instagram. But yeah, go and speak to Nick. I'm sure that he would be able to arrange sending you a copy. But that's really the only place that I know that you can learn Nick's routine. Okay, so the next question is from Archie Cox Magic. Excuse me, Archie. Archie says, "Hope you're well." Yes, I am. Thank you very much. A few weeks ago, I asked you for advice for my parlor show, and you mentioned a book for the thumb tie rings, but I couldn't find it because I can't spell the person's name. Would you be able to tell me where I could find this or how to spell the person's name? Ironically, I have it in front of me because I'm doing a retro review on it. So it's called The Amazing Miracles of Shigeo Takagi. That's the book, The Amazing Miracles of Shigeo Takagi. Shigeo is spelled Shigeo, and Takagi is Takagi. So The Amazing Miracles of Shigeo Takagi. Now, as I said, it is from Kaufman and Company, and I've actually got their website up here at the moment. You can get it directly from Kaufman and Company. They have it in stock. It is one of the best books on close-up magic and stage magic you'll ever see. The thumb tie routine is brilliant. The linking rings routine is brilliant. His cups and balls with Chinese-style bowls is fantastic. But for me, his wild card and also the solid cup routine are the best tricks you will ever see. Shigeo Takagi is amazing, just absolutely amazing. So yeah, that and the thumb tie routine, damn, that's what you want to learn. So yeah, go to that's how you can probably find it somewhere else, but they are in stock at Kaufman and Company. Okay, so the next question again is from Archie Cox Magic, who says, if I do mentalism at a gig, should I introduce myself as a magician or a mentalist? I'm not sure if all spectators would know what a mentalist is, so would it be fine to introduce myself as a magician, even if I do mentalism in that set? I think if you're doing magic and mentalism at a gig, you refer to yourself as a magician, even if you're doing mentalism. So if I'm doing this first group and I'm doing Ambitious Card, then I'm doing the second group and I'm doing a book test and it's more mentalism, I'm still going to be a magician, right? Because I'm doing a bit of everything. I'm just doing what I think is appropriate to that particular audience. And that's why I do an awful lot of gigs. I try and get a feel as to what they're into. If somebody says, oh, I love gambling, I'm going to be doing more hardcore sleight of hand. If somebody says, oh, I love Darren Brown, I'm going to be doing more mentalism, right? So, but I would refer to myself as a magician. If I'm booked as a mentalist, though, and a lot of the time these days I am getting bookings as a mentalist, I'm going out there with all my mentalism, because I'm a mentalist now, don't forget. I will build that into my presentation. So I'll go, hey guys, sorry to bother you. My name's Craig, and I am a mentalist. Now you're probably wondering what a mentalist is. Well, think Darren Brown, but with less style, and that's me. I'm going to give you the illusion of reading your mind. Now, I'm not really going to read your mind, but that's what you're going to think that I'm doing. Different people have different approaches. Matt's approach is great because Matt does pretty much exclusively mentalism at events, and when he goes up to people he says, hey, my name's Matt, I'm going to try and influence you. You know, I don't know if you realize this, but as you walked into this building today, as you walked into this room, there's certain things that are dotted around that are designed to get you to think a particular way. Now you're not going to realize that, but now you're going to see exactly what I've been trying to put together, and so you kind of go into it that approach. But if you're doing magic and mentalism, I just refer to yourself as a magician. But if you're doing mentalism exclusively, I'd refer to yourself as mentalist or a mind reader or you know, whatever it is that you want to call yourself. But I'd really focus on that side of things. Okay, so the next question is again from Archie Cox Magic, who says, what's the best book test with a regular book? There's quite a few book tests with regular books. Jake Keane has a great, Jake Keane did a masterclass on the Netrix and did a fantastic book test with a regular book, combining a couple of existing principles, and I thought it was phenomenal. I don't know if he's published it anywhere. Reach out to Jake Keane. It was amazing. Also, Michael O'Brien, again on the Netrix, has an amazing impromptu book test. That's something that you absolutely want to check out because that's really good. And one of my favorites is the Hoy book test, which is just really cool. So the Hoy book test, in essence, is kind of a bit of a blag. So you borrow two books, and you take the two books and you look at them and you go, okay, I've got two books here. We're going to do something with these two books. And you flick through the first one and you say, look, as you can see, all these books are different. And all these pages are different. They should be because you lent me the book. And all you do is you just flick through, and as you're flicking through, you clock a page number and you clock the first word on that page. So let's say I see 127 and it's forgetful at the top. And you go, okay, all these words are different, yeah? Can you hold on to that book? Brilliant. Now, in a second, you're going to be thinking of a word out of that book, but you're going to decide what page that word comes from. And that's what this book is used for. I'm going to riffle down the book like this. You're going to say stop wherever you say stop. I'm going to open at that point. We're going to look at the page number, and then you're going to turn the page number in that book. Say stop, stop. and then you just turn the book towards yourself. You time it so they stop at around about the same position. Like you're remembering 120 here, you stop at around about 120, but it's not a force because you're going to miscall it. So you say stop, stop, you just turn it towards yourself and you say 120, page number 120. Can you hold on to that book for me? And what you do now is you say turn to page number 120, look at the first word on that page. Can you remember it? Close it up. Now you reframe. So you say, now think about this. This is a borrowed book, right? I've never seen that book before. You just lent it to me. It's been in your hands the entire time. No way I could know any word in that book. And we just had a page randomly selected. You could have turned to any page. If you'd have said stop a little bit differently, you would have ended up on a different page. This is completely your choice. No way I could know that word, but obviously you forced them into the word that you picked earlier on. That's a great, impromptu, that's one of the best ways to do it, I think. Just borrow a couple of books and you're good to go. Okay, so the next question, start again. The next question is from Yurio, who says, hey, Craig, how you doing? I'm good, thanks, buddy. What's the one trick that you wouldn't want to be caught dead with? Oh, wow. What's the one trick that you wouldn't want to be caught dead with? I don't know. I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't want to be caught dead with. I mean, you can make anything work, right? Let's say a smoke watch. Let's just say a smoke watch. I wouldn't want to be caught dead with a smoke watch. But in all seriousness, I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't want to do. I don't want to be doing long, boring counting tricks. 21 card trick. I don't, right, okay. I hate the 21 card trick. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. And I hate it for so many different reasons. But one of the things I hate about it is that everybody knows it, everybody does it. And I see magicians all the time going, I've come up with my own variation of the 21 card trick. And it's a different method, so it's designed to fool people that know the 21 card trick. Yeah, but it still involves dealing cards onto a table multiple times and just boring your spectators to tears. It's like, you know, I may be able to come up with a new way of polishing a turd, but it's still going to be a turd. So I don't want to be caught dead with a. I don't want to be caught dead doing the. Honestly, if you see me doing the 21 card trick, please just shoot me because it means I've just given up. Okay, next question from Yuri says, another question. I just saw the trailer for your new trick, Next Level, which looks amazing. Congratulations, thank you. I just have one question about it. Will you go over justifying the having the game cartridges with you? It might come off as a bit random to have someone with a whole set of cartridges with them. So I was just wondering if you go over that sort of thing in the download. But again, congratulations. I go over the justification. I kind of answered this before. I go over the justification, but honestly, the justification really is, hey guys, so my name's Craig, I'm a magician, I do magic. Now, one of the things about being a magician is you have to travel all over the place. I'm on one train, then another train, then another train. Problem is I get bored. Luckily, I take my Nintendo Switch with me. Honestly, I think that's the greatest invention that I've ever seen because it's a console that I can take with me anytime, anywhere. And it's so much better than the old Game Boy. Are there any gamers here? Okay, so if you're a gamer, you'll probably recognize these, right? I have my favorite Nintendo Switch games here. These are all of my favorites. You probably recognize some of them. Some of you recognize, some of you might not. Zelda, obviously, everybody knows. Mario, everybody knows. But we're going to use these two. You might not have seen this before. Have you ever seen Crazy Chauffeur? No, you haven't? Okay, we're going to use that one. We're going to use Quest for Corvus. It doesn't really matter about the titles of the games, though. The reason I'm going to use these is because these are Switch games. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to try and switch these cartridges right in front of you. So instead of thinking of the game titles, let's just think of the names of the game. Let's just think of the color of the cartridges. Purple and blue. Think you can do that for me? Now watch carefully. There's the purple, there's the blue. If I take the purple over here and the blue over here, where's the blue? Oh, so you missed the switch. That's what I mean. I'm going to switch it right in front of your eyes and you're not going to see it's happening. Boom, I'm into it, right? So the justification is just me talking about I'm a gamer. If I'm a gamer, I'm carrying, and which is true, I'm carrying games around with me. But the justification can be different. It could be, hey, I love to do, one of the things that I love about magic is creativity. I'm always trying to create magic with different objects. And my kid turned around to me the other day and said, well, if you're a real magician, Dad, you could do magic with this. And he handed me over his game cartridges for his Switch. I was like, okay, Ryland, challenge accepted. So I sat down for a few hours and I was able to work out how to do a trick with Nintendo Switch cartridges. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm probably the only magician in the world that can do a trick with a Nintendo Switch cartridge. But would you like to see that right now? You would? Let's go for it. Boom. And then we're into it. It could be a variation on that, where you say, hey, you know what? Oh, there's a great routine on the project. There's a really great routine where you have a deck of cards, right? And you talk about creativity, and you say, let me tell you, one of the things that I love about being a magician is creating magic. And a lot of the magic that you've seen me perform, I've actually created myself. Now, what I have here is I have the tool that I use to create my magic. Now, what this is a deck of cards, but it's not real cards. The backs are blank, but the fronts have, well, half of the cards you can see are written in red, and half the cards are written in black. And the cards that are written in red have various different things that you would use if you were doing a magic performance, but it's all weird and wonderful objects. So it's not like packs of cards and coins. You got things like bananas, and you got things like this and that and the other. And these are all the different things that you can do. So you got transportations, teleportations, you got these are all the different effects that a magician would do. So let's see if we can do something here. First of all, you take one of these and we'll put it down here. That's the object that we're going to be using. I've got these three things here. Take these, take three of these. So they take three of them, and you go, right, okay, so let's see what we've got. We've got a Nintendo Switch cartridge. We've got an appearance. We've got a change, and we've got a vanish. Okay. So that would be a bit weird. What's that then? So I've got to use a Nintendo Switch cartridge, and I've got to do these three things. Well, I suppose the first thing would be appearance. Now, think about this. If you'd gone one more card, this wouldn't have been a Nintendo Switch cartridge. This would have been a pineapple. But it's not. It's a Nintendo Switch cartridge, and this is an appearance. So if I take a piece of nothing, watch that piece of nothing. Because I'm going to squeeze it. I'm going to turn it into a Nintendo Switch cartridge. That's called Crazy Chauffeur. That's one of my favorite games. So this is what I mean. I'm creating magic specifically for you. Now, what's the next one? Change. Well, how would I change a Switch cartridge? Well, I suppose I could change it from one Switch cartridge to another. So instead of Crazy Chauffeur, I could change it to Quest for Corbis. Now, that's a completely different game. That's a platformer. The other one was a racing game. It doesn't really matter. The point is I've changed this. Now, think about this, and I don't need to go any further on, you get the idea, but the point is, spectators love this, because now what you're doing is you're almost customizing an effect together specifically for them, and the more random the object, the better. So if you don't want to carry the thing around with you, you don't have to. You can literally just do it like that. There's so many different options on the tutorial, but hopefully when it comes to, when it comes to, what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to justification, that kind of covers it for you. Okay, so the next question is from Jay Plays. Oh, another one from Jay. Hi, Craig. Thanks again for all you do for the community. I really appreciate it. Just one question from me. How many gigs would you say you manage in a single calendar year? You put out so much content here on YouTube, as well as your actual product releases, plus helping Ryland out with his show. So I'm curious how many gigs you manage to fit into an already busy schedule. Thanks again for everything. Hope your family are keeping well. I'll be honest with you, man, less than I used to. I coming out of the pandemic, I think in the year coming out of the pandemic, I did like maybe 250, 300 gigs, maybe a bit more. This year I'm all over the place. I've slowed down a little bit. Where are we? April? I think I've probably done maybe 60, 70 by now, I think. We get a lot of weekday stuff. We've got contracts with a lot of, and that's an eclectic mix. There's illusion shows, there's cabaret shows, there's close-up magic, kid shows, absolutely everything. But I would say probably about 60 or 70 at this point. Where are we filming? At the beginning of April. Probably about 60 or 70. I've slowed down a little bit because I just haven't got time to do as many gigs as I did. But I'd say probably 60 or 70. More towards 70 than 60, I would say. Okay, so the next question is from Stephen Murdoch, who says, Hi, Craig. First of all, I want to thank you for the inspiration to get back into magic during lockdown at the age of 55. I tried to get my card chops back, but to no avail. I just don't have the dexterity anymore due to the age and hand tremors, so I've returned to my love of mentalism. Thanks to you and Matt, I've gotten out and have began actually performing for more than just friends and family. Now at the age of 57, I'm currently prepping for my third parlour act in my local community centre today. Stephen, that is amazing news. Congratulations. Welcome back to the Magic community, and I'm so happy to see you going out and performing. I was saying this to somebody else the other day. I've got a friend who is a magician and unfortunately has been diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's. And I was saying to them that, you know, don't let anything stop you. You know, there are so many wonderful ways of performing magic these days, and Wayne Dobson is a perfect example of that. Nothing should ever let you stop doing what you love. So I've been doing some close-up mentalism for friends and family. My local pub, I even did a walk around for my wife's company last year. Man, that's great. Well, that makes for a great experience with audience management, presentation, and overall confidence. My passion is parlour and cabaret and stage. As I said earlier, I've been performing full parlour shows at my local community centre's rec room, which brings me to my question. By the way, goosebumps, genuinely. The question: I had my wife record my second show, and she'll be doing so going forward. Amazing wife, by the way. Sarah would not do that for me. She does it for Ryland, but not for me. Having that video is amazing benefit. I'm learning so much from watching myself. Other than how can an amateur wanting to create and perform full acts for parlour or stage practice and refine their act? This is particularly an issue for myself as a mentalist, where repeat performances aren't always ideal. I'm also referring to more than just one performance. I've read quite a bit about theory of constructing a full act, but that's just theory. I've learned so much from my last two shows, but I can only apply general lessons to future performances. Thanks once again for all your time and all you do, mate. No problem. So first of all, go and watch the interview I did on Talk Magic with Mark Oberon. It was one of the very first interviews I ever did. It wasn't the first one, but it was one of the very first. Go look at that interview, because Mark talks about, if you don't know Mark Oberon, he's, you know, a FISM winner. He's won everything there is to win. And he talks on that video about his approach to practice and how he actually practices and rehearses to really benefit his act. And he spends a long time talking about that. So that is absolutely an interview worth looking at. Look up the Mark Oberon interview. Really, really important. The other thing that I would say is what you're talking about here is flight time. And you are right. There is no substitute for flight time. What I would do is I would look for more opportunities to go out and perform. You know, a lot of people say you should only perform for money and don't perform for experience. And I think that's rubbish. Go out and perform as much as you can. Go and find places that you can perform. Go to, excuse me, retirement villages. Go to open mic nights. Go to as many different places as you can and go and perform set routines. It doesn't necessarily have to be a whole act, but go and perform set routines to as many people as possible. One thing that Mark says, which is a great idea, is set a room in your house up like a stage and invite friends and family around and say, hey, I'm working on a new act. I would love you to come round and just watch the show and then give me genuine, honest feedback afterwards. Put some drinks out, put some nibbles out, invite 10 or 12 people around, your closest friends and family, people that you can trust, that will give you their honest feedback, and then get their honest feedback and use that to improve as well. But yeah, you're on the right track by having every single performance videoed. Every time Ryland performs, we video his performance and then we go back and we watch it together, because that really helps people improve. Going back and watching the performance is something that's really a useful thing to do. Okay, so the next question is RTGTEX, who says, one of my early influences when I returned to Magic about close to a decade ago and started learning mnemonica for the first time from a Danny D. Ortiz download on Penguin is Alex Pandrea. His card handling philosophy strikes me as Vernonian and very much like seeing a meeting of your two minds on a Magic TV interview. I'd love to learn more about him and the things you two might share in common or differ in. What do you think? I'm a big fan of Alex Pandrea. I knew Alex back in the day. In fact, if you look at a DVD and me, David Penn produced years ago, we produced a DVD called the road trip with David Penn and Craig Petty, where we went to Vegas and we filmed it, and we got various different people to appear on that download, on that DVD, and one of them was Alex Pandrea. I think he's amazing, one of the best card handlers there is. I have fallen out of touch with Alex, but I think he would make an amazing interview, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll track him down, I'll try and figure out where he is, and I would absolutely love to interview him. I think it would be an amazing interview. So yes, 100%. Leave it with me and I'll see what I can do. Okay, so the next question is from Stephen Devereux, who says, "Hi Craig, thanks for all your videos and all your hard work. I watch you every day as you put up so much out there. Thank you, buddy. I support you and Scott. Scott went too far. Appreciate that. When is the Quantum Deck 2 coming out? I know that's not the name. Thanks from Stephen Rue, South Africa. I'm going over to America to film it at some point within the next 2 months. And I'm filming the tutorial and the performances over there. Murphys want me to film that and one other over there. So that's what's going to happen. And then I know that they're almost ready. They're in the warehouse. We're good to go. So I can see it coming out by the summer, maybe. It's definitely coming out this year. It's been a long time coming, but this year I think it's definitely going to be hitting the streets. Okay, so the next question is from Divishan Magician, who says, "I have a weekend restaurant residency, which is always busy, but I'm wondering for a weekday one, what do you do if barely any people turn up? If only 2 or 3 tables turn up, do you just show those tables the full 2 hours? Has this happened, or are the right type of posh restaurants even fully booked on weekdays?" When I did a lot of restaurants, what I would do is I would actually pitch the restaurant on getting us in on a quieter night, and then using marketing techniques, using word of mouth, using our social media, building up a quiet night into a busier night. And I would point out to them that it will take about 6 months, but we can do that. And we used to do that all the time. I remember working with a place called the 1 and 2 Halves, and we were there for 10 years. And the only reason we left is because the manager moved on somewhere else. The new manager didn't want magic, but the old manager took us to the new venue. But I digress. We were there for 10 years, and we went in on a Wednesday night, which was dead. 10 years later, it was their busiest weekday night. And when we first started in there, it was a bit quieter. So we would just spend longer with each table. So we knew if it was going to be a quiet night, to spend longer with each table, because the thing with restaurant magic is you hustle. You go from table to table to table to table. You get around as many tables as you can. You don't want to be in a situation where a table has come in and not seen the magician. But if it's a quieter night, you can do a longer set. You can spend more time with each table. Maybe even go back and say, "Hey, it's a little bit quieter here tonight. Maybe I'll come back a little bit later when you've finished eating." So yeah, that's what I would do if I were you. But I would really focus on promoting the restaurant at your end as well. So if you get a restaurant residency, one of the pitches that you should give to that restaurant isn't just that you're going to come in and you do magic, but you make yourself as valuable as possible. And one of the ways to make you really valuable is by promoting it on your behalf. So if you see if you're at an event near your restaurant, and say, "Hey, I work every Wednesday at this place. You should come over and check it out if you want to see more magic." Put posts up on your social media. Tag people in on your social media posts. All of that stuff is very, very important. The next question is Slight Improvements, who says, "Hi, Craig. Although I have an absolutely different philosophy on magic than you do, I respect your approach to creating and reviewing magic. You always give 100% effort. I hope you take your well-deserved rest from this channel and then come back if it is what is best for you and Ryland. You've put at least $20,000 into this channel if you account for the cost of the tricks, the amount you pay your employees to be on here, and the time that you could spend doing gigs. Yeah, and then some. There are many different people who have criticised you. If their opinion is about your tricks or performance style, that's fine. It's their opinion. But the people who try and make you out as this evil genius who is also dumb as a brick are either complete narcissists or beggars for attention. I left a comment like that on your channel a while ago, and it was purely to get attention from you at a low point in my life. Really, I have a lot of pity for these people." Dude, it just happens, man. You can't put yourself out there as much as I do without getting critics. The problem is a lot of the critics are really loud and really loud. A lot of critics have a voice that's, they want to be heard, is basically it. And, I do get a lot of people saying I'm evil, I'm a bully, I'm this and that and the other. And I just don't get it, because I will try so hard to help as many people as I possibly can. But you know what? It is what it is. My conscience is clear. All I can do is go out and do the best that I can do, and the rest of it, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Look, I really appreciate your comments. I really do. I'm good. Okay, so the next question is from EPHY53, who says, what coin set would you recommend for a beginner? Apparition. It's the least expensive of the elite coin range. Some of the routines are almost self-working, so you can do them almost immediately. And then you can learn more complicated routines over time. I would say definitely the Apparition coin set. Okay, so the next question is from Kevin's Wiz, who says, I would love to learn that Woody Aragon finger trick. I'm assuming it's like Love Ritual. I guess you could call it an anti-love ritual. Anyway, where can I learn that one? Is it in a book or a video anywhere? Or is there any way to get Nemeth to teach it on the Netrix? I would assume you'd need to get approval from Woody, which might be a hassle. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's in one of his books. I don't know. Nemeth wouldn't be able to teach it because it's Woody's trick. Yeah, it wouldn't be fair. But if Nemeth is watching this, and I know Nemeth does watch the Q&A. Nemeth, I know you're watching this, and I know you're listening to me right now. He watches these on double speed because he finds listening to me at normal speed excruciating. So I know he's listening to this. Nemeth, can you please put in the comments down below where you can learn the finger trick by Woody Aragon? That would be amazing because Kevin would like to know. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next question is from Jonah Berg, who says, what do you think about Carneycopia by John Carney? I think it's brilliant. It's one of my favourite books of all time. I bought it from Tannen's just before spending about 2 months backpacking around America, 3 months backpacking around America. And that book, I was literally reading it cover to cover. I was reading it constantly. There's so much amazing magic in that book. It's brilliant. I think it's a book that everybody should get. Okay, so the next question is from Warren Trenaway. By the way, if you don't follow Warren on social media, you should do. He's an amazing magician. Really, really talented. Warren says, hey, Craig, great show as always. Before I get to my question, I just want to thank you for all the amazing content you put out on Magic TV. Keep up the good work. Thank you, buddy. Question time. I recently saw a magician perform something which I believe used a parapad, which looks super clean compared to, say, writing on a business card, which you then place in your own wallet, for example. I'm not sure if you've used imp pads. Not really. But we would be interested to hear what non-electronic ones you rate as the best, as they range from the simple stock creasy DIY pad to the likes of the parapad, etc. It's not something that I've really spent much time messing around with, to be honest, Warren, but I know somebody who has. So I'm going to see if I can get them to answer the question for you on a future Q&A. I'll get them to send me a video over. But it's not something that I've really spent much time looking into. So my answer to you would be based more on guesswork more than anything else, because I don't really use imp pads. So yeah, it's a question I can't really help you with, unfortunately. You've probably got more knowledge on this subject than me. But as I say, I've got a very good friend who has got a lot of knowledge on this subject. I'm going to reach out to him and see if I can revisit this on next week's Q&A and get him to shoot a quick video over, and we'll play that instead. Okay, so the final question today is from Mikey Anno, who says, I didn't send a video, but I've been a USA fan for many years. I was lucky enough to meet you briefly at Magic Live. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for everything you do and your family and team. Everything you do on this channel makes me a better kid show magician. I'm also a big supporter of your products. I don't have every release, but everything I've purchased has been awesome. I think if I was going to pick my number one, it would be super difficult. I love EDC, I love Evoke, I love Mind Block. In my personal top 3 best, but all the stuff you do is awesome. I'm not a coin magician, but I love your coin sets as well. Thanks for the magic you bring to all of us. Thank you very much. And as that's the last question, I want to say thank you to everybody that supported me. I know I put a little video out saying this the other day, but I just want to reiterate it. I don't want to dwell on anything. There's no need to dwell on anything because that's being dealt with behind the scenes. But all I want to say is thank you so much to anyone that supported me, anyone that's reached out to me, anyone that's messaged me, anyone that's commented, everybody and anyone. I genuinely thought I was quitting this channel a week ago, and now I am fired up to do more videos than ever before, and that's because of the genuine outpouring of love and support that you guys have given me. So from the bottom of my heart, and I mean this so much, thank you. From me, my team, my family, Thank you so much. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, a couple of things you need to know. First of all, there's still a couple of videos to come. Tonight at 9 o'clock, we've got a review show special. At 6 o'clock, we've got Magic Live. And make sure you watch out for those. And also, if you haven't already done so, go check out two things. First of all, go check out the interview from last night. The Talk Magic interview was with two legends of the UK Magic community, Lee Hathaway and Michael J. Fitch, talking about the Magic Circle. And also, very important, don't forget, if you haven't already joined the Netrix, please do so. www.thenetrix.com. We've got 5 new tricks getting uploaded next week, and oh my God, they're good. So make sure you check out all of those. Thank you once again for joining me. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.